And the dress is so beautiful. Can you see? You can see I'm very ready for tomorrow. Something simple yet elegant. So I'm so tired. Don't mind my tired face here because it's 2 a.m. Okay. All I have to do is to get my hair done, my nails done, nice makeup, my gele, and I'm good to go. Let me turn the back for you to see. Good day, everyone. How are you all doing? And welcome back to another class. My name is Bilikis. In today's class, we are going to be making this ashwebi dress together. Okay, this is an impromptu invite, and since the party is tomorrow, I just need something quick and simple. So all I did is, okay, this is the Ankara fabric, it's 6 yards, and they are show. Okay, maybe I'll make a separate video on how to cut and sew the gele. So all I did is to make a quick sketch. So looking at it, this is just how the neckline is going to be, and then it's going to be a little bit drop waist, not too much, and then the back too, this is how it's going to be, especially the neckline, and this lower part is going to be gathered, and I'm going to use 4 yards of fabric for that. So now let's get started. The first thing you need is to take your measurements from the nape to the hip. So I have that drafted here. I have from the nape, the length should be to the hip. So looking at it, I have my chest line, bust point line, under the bust, waist, and hip. So for my armhole, half of my armhole is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. So mine is 9.5 inches. Then going to my bust point, that's 11.5, and then to my under bust, that is 15.5. My waist is 18.5, and then to the hip is 26.5. Hope that is well understood. The next thing should be the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. So first you measure 3 inches, mark a point, then you go further to mark 8 inches. After that, you come down by 1 inch, and then you connect the point to the 3 inches. That's how you form the slope. Good. The next thing is the shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8.5. Then plus half an inch seam allowance to attach to the sleeve. That will make it 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches. So 9 inches is here, and then come to the chest line and mark the same thing. Good. And then for the armhole, what I'm going to do is to insert my bust circumference. So my bust circumference divided by 4 will give me 11.25. So you mark 11.25 here. Then you can form the armhole by going up by 2.5 inches. And then you come in by half an inch. But because of all the contouring going on here, I might just leave it like that. I'll just go in by quarter inch or half an inch, because we are going to be doing a lot of contouring. Okay, and then you blend it up. Let's take your ruler. Good. So once that is done, you can also take your waist measurement. My waist measurement is 39, but I'm going to be using 38 because I want it to be so firm and a bit snatched. So 38 inches divided by 4 should be 9.5. Then you connect with your pencil, because we are still going to add to that. So this is, it's good. The next thing you want to insert is your bust span. Half of my bust span is 4.5. Mine is 9 inches. From distance from one nipple to the other one is 9. So divided by 2, that will give me 4.5. So you mark on the bust point line 4.5, and then I'll go to the waist and mark the same thing. Let's quickly take the dart. So for the dart, the center front, towards the center front, is going to be 3/4 or 0.75. But if your bust span is 8 inches below, use half an inch. But because my bust span is wider, then for the total dart I'll be taking between 2 inches to 2.5. But if you're a medium size, 1.75 to 2 inches is okay. And for a small size, you can just take 1 inch to 1.5. So for me, I'll be taking 2¼ in total. So 2¼. So you now start from the 3/4 and mark 2, or let me just do 2½. Okay, good. Then I'll come to the under bust and do the same thing. So 3/4 here first, and then 2½ in total. Then you are going to connect with your armhole curve. The next thing you will do now is to come over to the shoulder here. So get the midpoint. Here I have almost 6½. So remember, we've added seam allowance here, okay, for the sleeve. So you are going to deduct that to have 6, which will be 3. So I'll measure it from the neckline here. So that's the midpoint. Then you take it straight to the bust point. So the next thing now is for the neckline, and pay attention here. Remember, from our sketch, you can see it is inverted. So what we'll do now is to pay attention here. So the first thing I will do is to mark 4 inches and then 5 inches. So 5 inches will be for the height here, and the 4 inches will guide me to make the curve perfectly. So 4 inches is here, and then 5 inches, I can just mark that here. So that 4 inches, I can just use my pencil. Okay, or the 5 inches, let me use my pencil. So this is the 4 inches here. So I'm going to take the dart here. So you can take 1 inch on both sides. Since I use 2 inches here, 2½ inches here, I'll just use between 2 inches or 2¼ here, because fine, you still want it to be a bit free, except you want it so flat on your body. Okay, so instead I would have taken the total that I took here up here. Okay, but I'm going to reduce it. So first I can take, if it's 2 inches, I'll take 1 inch here and 1 inch here. Okay, and then I can connect. For the neckline to be properly fixed, so I'll fold at the bust point here. And I'll be able to cover up. Good. So with this, I can be able to form the neckline. So here at first, I'm going to use my armhole curve. Okay, I'm just trying to get the perfect shape. So here you can just come up by ½ an inch. So this just depends on your creativity. Okay. 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 So I think I'm okay with this. Okay, so this is how it will look. So let me fold it back and check if I'm okay. Then I can use my marker to do that. So I'm okay with the neckline that I have now. So I can open it up. So you can see that it's done. So the next thing now is for the yoke, just as we have here. So it depends how much you want the yoke to be. So maybe I could just at the midpoint, or I could still do about 2 inches from here. So it depends on how much you want it to be, and then that could be somewhere around here, because I want it to be deep into the armhole area. So I could have something like this. Okay, I think this is fine. So can you see how it looks? So this is the yoke and this is the top itself. So what I will do now is to extend this dart straight down. So to make it easy, measure 4.5 because that was what we did in the middle. And then I'll put the 2.5, 3/4 inch here first. Good. Now starting from the bust area, so you are going to measure what you have here. So here I have 3/4 inch, 0.75, where the dart passes through. I will have to add it back here, 0.75, that's 3/4. Then 1 inch for sizing allowance. So that sums total to 1 3/4. Okay. The next thing is you need additional 1 inch to join the fabric together, but I will just add that on the fabric. So here just write add 1/2 inch, then here so add 1/2 inch. Okay, so we've added the side seam allowance and these darts that pass through. So coming to the waist, my waist is okay, or just simply take whatever you took here, which is 2.5. So 2.5 plus extra 1 inch for the side seam allowance. So we've successfully added all that. Always go over your measurement. So now for the hip measurement. So my hip measurement is 48 divided by 4, that is 12 inches. So remember, this has passed through, so you can just keep it since it's 12 inches. So here I have 3 3/4. Then I'll skip it and then mark 12 inches, then plus 1 inside seam allowance, that makes it 13, or simply add 2.5 to 12. Okay, then I'll connect it. So that is done. So what I'll do now is to cut off. So this is what we have. So let's quickly finish up the Basque effect. So I'm just going to glue these together. So I have glue it together. Now for the Basque, just as we have in the diagram. So I just want to come down from the waist a little. So I'm just going to do it just 1 inch or 1.5. Okay. So from there, and then here at the waist, I'm just going to come down by 5.5 to 6, depending on your preference. Then I will form the. So this is what I have. Then I can cut out. So everything is formed, and then this is the yoke. Here you had your seam allowance, had 1/2 inch. Okay, we already have seam allowance here, so we are only adding to this part. I've added to the shoulder. Then here to right, had 1/2 inch, add 1/2 inch. So the front is ready. This is the back. So first thing is you have to leave 1 inch for the zipper allowance 1 inch before drafting for the back. So the back is just the same thing from the nape to half of the armhole, which is 9.5, then the waist, which is 18.5, and then the hip, which is 26.5. Here there's no bust point and on the bust, there's no bust at the back. So once you've done that, the next thing is the shoulder slope, just as we did for the front. 3 inches, then 8 inches here, and then come down by 1 inch, mark a point, then connect the 3 inches to the 8 inches in a straight line. So once that is done, we use 9 inches with seam allowance for the shoulder. You mark 9 inches here. You do the same thing on the chest line and then connect this straight line. The next thing is to insert your bust measurement. Mine is 11.25, which is here. Then for the armhole, come up by 2.5 and then connect the back armhole. So once that is formed, the next thing is to insert half of the bust span. Mine is 4.5, just as we did for the front. So you mark on the chest line now and then the hip line. So we can take the dart. The dart is 1 inch. Okay, so 1 inch on half an inch on both sides to make 1 inch. Half inch here, half inch here. Okay, then you come down by 1 inch from the chest line and then you connect it. And then from the hip, you just take it straight to the hip. So the dart has been formed. Now, all we have to do now is to insert the waist circumference. What is my waist in the is 38 inches divided by 4. That will give me 9.5. So 9.5 plus this 1 inch for the dart, that makes it 10.5. So this is it. So now we will add extra 1 inch for the side seam allowance. I will also add to these parts. Then you connect it. Then my hip measurement is 12. 48 divided by 4 is 12 plus 1 inch side seam allowance, 13. Good. So the next thing is we took 1.5 at the front. So you need to be sure of that. So here at the back, I'm just going to make it straight. So I'm going to do the same thing at the back. And then you can just connect in a straight line. Good. So once that is done, we can now cut this off. We don't need this lower part anymore. So this is now what we have. So since that is done, the next thing we need to do is to do the contouring at the back, because we use the front waistline for the back, which is not. So what you will do now is to come up by 1 inch, or you can just spread it by having half here, half at the lower parts. Then I'll connect straight to the waist region. So this 1 inch is going off. So I'm just going to push it inward. Let me see. So now this is the dart. Half an inch on both sides. Half. So now for the back neckline, what I will do is to come down by, it depends on how low you want it to be. So I'll just come down from the chest line 1 inch and then link it up to somewhere around here, or we could just take it up here. It depends on your preference. So you could have it straight or you could have it curved. So we could use the front yoke as a guideline. So just place it somewhere here. So we started somewhere here. Good. So Just cut it out. So that is the yoke. So we need to do some contouring at this back so that it can be fitted. So on this bust pan line, just go out 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, and then you blend it into the darts. So this is going off. Can you see? So the next thing is the yoke. So for the neck width, the wideness, we'll use the front as a guideline. So just place it here. This is it. Then you mark that point. So this is where our yoke is going to be. So since this is the design of our yoke, so first we're going to come down by 1 inch. From the neckline. So with the zipper allowance. Okay. So now for here, the opening, it depends on you. You could use here as a guide. So it depends on how open you want it to be. So you could have it to be curved this way. Maybe we could do that. Okay, let me measure here. So here we have about 1 1/4, which is okay. So good. So this 1 1/2 inches is going to be seam allowance to clip it over. Okay, or if you want to reduce it by 1/2 inch, it depends on if you want it to overlap or you want to use hook or whatever will decide the amount of seam allowance you had there. I have added 1/2 inch to this upper part, so all other places just write add 1/2 inch so that you won't forget. Add. Then also this part too, because we didn't add it at all, add 1/2 inch. So that is it. And then for the dart, just take it straight down. Okay, just blend it up and confirm all your measurements. So now let's cut it all out. This is the front and this is the back. So all I have to do now is to cut it on the main fabric and the lining, adding seam allowance where you also add it. I have cut out all the patterns and added 1/2 inch seam allowance where necessary. That is very important. Okay, so don't forget that. So we are going to start one after the other. So for the yoke, I'm just going to be placing a cord lace on it. So I have a cord lace at home, so I use that for the sleeve, which is going to be a puff sleeve, and then also for the yokes alone. So let's start with the front first. So this is the front. So for this, I only use hairstay to enhance it. So this is hairstay. This is what it looks like. So on the main fabric, that is what I used. Okay, so I did not pad the main fabric. I padded only the lining. Okay, so you can have bust structuring or bust caging as it's popularly called, but I'm putting this dress on tomorrow, so I don't really want to have too much. So this is what it looks like. So after this, so then the yoke, this is it. So this will be for one side, this will be for the other side. So this is going to be on it. On the main fabric, I also cut out the lining. Can you see? This is how it's going to be. And this too, this is how it's going to be. So can you see then the lining? That's it for the yoke. So what I'm going to do now is to sew it up. Then I'm going to show you the lining. So for the lining, I padded the lining. Okay, and then you can see the way I padded it. It didn't get up to the neckline because it is high. After padding it, the next thing I did is to use the interfacing. This is quite thicker than the lightest one. This is the paper stay, the lightest one. So this one is the like the normal gum stay or something. So followed by this before you now have something like the color stay. So I now use this to glue it down. So this will kind of add in it. Even looking at it, you see it is adding. You can even double it if you want, or if you want it so hard you can use color stay, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to join it together. That's for the front. And then for the yoke, what I'm going to do first is you either use hemming glue to secure this down, or you just run a stitch all around. So when that is done, you can now sew it up with your lining. So when you are sewing it up, you are only hemming this side. You're only hemming this side, and then you see these parts that whereby you attach on the main bodies, you should have marked that point. So you only sew up this side and then bring it out to iron. So that's for this. Is the back. This is what it looks like. This is the zipper region. So all you have to do first on the yoke, remember I'm placing the lace on the main fabric. So you can use hemming glue. I have a black hemming glue, so the thicker part I'll just glue it down, or use just a basing stitch to secure it all around. Okay, once that is done, you now have to sew it to the lining, right side facing each other. Only this yoke area here, so you sew it here, and also the neckline. So you can put, if you are having a buttonhole, a loop, you can put it in between. So you leave the shoulder and the armhole area open, just as I explained for the front. So once that is done, then this lower part, you just sew it up. Only this, match it up this way, then you pin it so that it doesn't mix up. So once you pin it, you sew half an inch or whatever seam allowance you left. You pin it. You do the same thing to the lining. So that's how I'm going to sew it up. So now let's explain the skirts. For the skirts, here I already told you I'm using 4 yards of fabric to gather it up. Good. And then here I have 30 inches with seam allowance 32 inches. So how did I arrive to that? The length of my dress is 50 inches. It is a 3/4 dress. Okay, now for the bodies, let me use this, putting it here. My waist is 18.5, but remember, so ignore the basque, we are still going to work around that. So it's 18.5, and then by the side we came out by 1.5. 1.5 plus 18.5, that makes it 20 inches. So when you remove 20 from 50 inches, you are left with what? 30 inches. So that is why I have 32 inches here plus seam allowance. Half for the upper part, 1.5 for the lower part. Good. And once that is done, I have 4 yards. Then I want to have a pocket. I like having pockets in my dress. So that means I'm going to divide it into 2. 2 yards for the front, 2 yards for the back. So here, this is my 2 yards for the front. This is 2 yards. One ply like this is 1 yard. 2 yards will be for the front, which I will gather. Good. This remaining 2 yards is for the back. So now for the back, there's going to be a zipper. So you have to divide it into 2, and then when 1 yard will be for one side of the back, 1 yard will be for the other side of the back. So these 2 yards now, I slitted it into 2. So 1 for each side at the back. Hope that is well understood. So let me just sew up the upper part and then we come back to see it. I've joined them and give them a very good press. Please, at this stage, you need to give a good press. So starting from the yoke, this is what it looks like now after ironing. Can you see? Make sure you notch it. You have to notch it. That is very important. Okay. And then I bring it all out. So I sewed the neckline and the back. So the same thing for these. Here I added a loop for button. Okay. Now for this, I pressed it open very well, same as the lining. So how do we finish up the back? So the way it is being placed, just put it this way, match it up at the armhole region, and then pick the lining. So right side facing each other. And then I'm just going to sew up the neckline 1/2 inch. Okay, I'll do the same thing to this very one, the front. So for the front, this is what it looks like. So look at the lining, well ironed. Can you see? Even after ironing it, I use hairstay to make sure it is flat because it's going to be pushing out the front and the main fabric. See the main fabric, I did a lot of ironing, okay? So that you have everything popping out. So what do you do here? The same thing we did here. This is the yoke. So the yoke is going to be like this. So looking at it, after sewing, I also notch this part. Then I press this out. So what you are going to do now is to match it inward with the armhole region, although I've already marked it here where I'm going to attach it. So you do the same thing, make sure you pin it well. This also the same way. Then you now take the lining and then you sew from the armhole all across to the other side. And please, you are going to leave this part open where you start because that is the armhole. Leave that part open. So let me do that. This is the back after sewing it. So this is how it looks like on the wrong side. Okay. So now, because of the zipper, all I did now is to sew in 1/4 inch here because we left 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So I just took 1/4 inch at the back here and sew it. So by the time I bring it all out, this is what I'll have to. So I'm just going to give it a good press. So now for the front, so this is what it looks like. So I made sure I added hemming glue to the neckline, okay, and on the right side. So all you have to do now is to bring it all out. Then don't forget to notch. Remember, this is very curvy. So you can see. So I'm now going to give it a good press. You steam press it, okay. So everything now comes out so nice. Okay, this is what we want to have. And the inside, so you give it a good press. The next thing you now want to do after doing that is to make sure right side are facing each other. So right side, okay, this is the right side. Right side facing the right side. So after you've given it a good press, so the shoulder must match. You can see how that matches. So you now make sure you open it up, match it together this way. So 1/2 inch from the beginning here to the end and also the lining. That's how you finish the shoulder. Then you come to the side here, fabric to fabric, 1 inch. That was what we left. Then you take the lining to lining, 1 inch. You do the same thing to this other side, leaving only the zipper region open. So right now I've joined it by the sides and this is how beautiful it looks. So even without wearing bra, everything sits well. Okay, can you see how it looks? So I just attach the sleeve to it. So this is how it looks on the inside. So please, you need to iron very well. So I'm going to overlock here. So this is the inside, looking so beautiful. So the next thing we want to do now is to gather it up. If you are not having pockets, you don't need to divide your skirt. All you have to do is to just gather it up here. So now what we'll do now is on the 2 years of fabric, because this is basque and I want it to be straight below. Okay, now watch what I'm going to do. Oh, so this will be the middle. Okay, so the basque, we came down by 1.5 on the side and then we came down by 6 inches in the front. So we are going to remove 1.5 from the 6 inches. That will be 4.5. Yes, from the middle now I'm just going to go in by 4.5 here, and then I'm just going to mark it straight this way. And then I'm going to cut it off. So can you see how it is? So by the time you gather the front, it will be able to be okay. So this is the V. So now I'm going to gather it up. Okay, so you take the measurement of the front, you gather this, then you will join it by the side. So I'm joining one yard to this side. So this is where the pocket is going to be, and I'll also join this 1 yard also. Okay, and then I'm going to put in my pocket and leave only the zipper opening. Join the lower part, and this is just looking so beautiful, simple yet wonderful. So can you see? This is how it looks. So I fixed the pocket. So this is the pocket. Can you see? So this is it, and then you can see how straight the lower part is. Okay, so let me turn to the back so that you can see how it looks. So this is it on the inside, just as neat as the outside. That is very, very important. Okay, so the next thing is just for me to fix the zipper, and then so I'm just going to fix the zipper and then fold the lower part. The beautiful dress is ready, and you can see how lovely it looks, simple yet elegant. And then my hair title is ready. Okay, so this is just how beautiful it is. So I'm just going to put it on for you to see how it looks. So you can see I've hemmed the lower part, then I've not given it a good press at all. So you can see the bustier is busting, everything is nice. Then the back. So this is the back. I fixed the zipper. Okay, so all I need next is to iron. Okay, so let me put it on for you to see how lovely it looks on me. See, you can see I'm very ready for tomorrow. Something simple yet elegant. So I'm so tired. Don't mind my tired face here because it's 2 a.m. Okay, so now I'm sure you like it. Yeah, all I have to do is to get my hair done, my nails done, nice makeup, my gele, and I'm good to go. Let me turn the back for you to see. I'm sure you like it. Something simple yet elegant. Yeah. So please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you're not.